I Saw Him by Chi-Town 12076. A young boy from our town died recently, and I can't get him out of my mind. This isn't just a random face I've glanced at in the newspaper or saw on a local newscast. This is different. I've seen this boy before. He was in my sister's grade. He lived a few blocks away on the main street of this small town. I've definitely seen this boy before. I saw him occasionally when picking up my sister from school. I saw him at the local supermarket with his mom and at the skate park near my job. I saw him riding his bike tirelessly around our neighborhood for hours on end. I've seen this boy so many times. I just wish I saw him that night when I sped through the crosswalk. If I saw him then, maybe I could stop seeing him now. I Met a Demon on the Tokyo subway by Life is Strange, Me Too. This story is a retelling of something that happened to me when I was 7 years old. As the years have gone by and I've grown up, I've realized that the story cannot possibly be true, yet I can't shake the feeling that it is. It happened in Tokyo, in the subway station. I was standing with my father when I saw the demon, a monstrously tall and furry creature with leathery black wings and a snout like an anteater. I must have stared at him for close to 10 minutes before he finally spoke, in a soft mutter that was clearly intended for his ears only. "This human is creeping me out," he said. "It almost looks like he's looking right at me." "I am looking right at you," I said. The demon nearly jumped out of his skin. "You can see me?" he asked. "Yes. Can't everybody?" "Not unless they're in the 5th dimension." "Am I in the 5th dimension?" I asked. "Your mind must have slipped over here by mistake. What were you thinking about before you saw me?" I thought for a moment, then grinned. "Trains." "Oh, well, trains are the link between our dimensions. I guess your mind must have just wandered over here. Either that or you're just going crazy." "I hope I'm not going crazy," I said. "Being crazy is a good thing in the 5th dimension," the demon replied. I laughed. "Do you have subway lines in the 5th dimension?" I asked. "Of course," he said. "How else would we get to work?" "You've got wings," I said. "Yes, but who wants to fly? Taking the train is so much faster, and if I fly to work, I'm all sweaty when I get there." "So what do you use your wings for?" I asked. "I put them over my head when it rains." "Can I see?" I asked. "Sure," the demon said. My hair blew back as he swooped his enormous wings over his head. I laughed again. "You're funny," I said. The demon laughed too, but then his expression changed. "Are you okay?" I asked. "You seem sad." Yes, the demon replied, not looking at me, but at something behind me. "Say, would you like to see a magic trick?" "Okay." The demon reached up and tugged a big rainbow handkerchief out of his snout. He must have pulled out 20 feet before he ran out. "That's funny," I laughed, but I stopped when I realized I wasn't holding my dad's hand anymore. I looked around and saw the subway station had disappeared, replaced by flowing green meadows full of old trains. "I can't see the subway station anymore," I said. "That's okay," said the demon. "Sometimes it's better to see what isn't there instead of what is." "What do you mean?" "Sometimes when I'm bored or sad, my mind slips off into the 3rd dimension, and I see people like you." "That's funny," I laughed. "Can you go to other dimensions too?" But the demon didn't answer. He was looking up at the sky. "It's starting to rain," he said, whooshing his wings up over his head. Warm droplets of rain hit my face. Can I get under your wings with you? I asked. Not now, I'm afraid, he replied. You've got to go back home. The world began to shimmer and flow together like different shades of green and golden paint, spinning around in circles. I started to feel a little sick, and I closed my eyes. The world stopped spinning, but warm droplets of water were still falling on my face. I opened my eyes and saw my mom crying over me, but I didn't see my dad. Where's Dad? I asked her. Did he bring me home? Yes, darling, she said, although she didn't look at me when she said it. He brought you home and then he had to go away. Oh, I replied. When will he be back? I don't know, she said. My dad never did come back, and it was years before I found out the truth. He had killed himself that day. That morning he had written a note to my mother explaining that he intended to bring me along and step in front of the train with me. My mother found it when she got home from work and called the police, but it was too late to stop my father. The witnesses say that just before he jumped, I pulled away from his hand and ran off, fainting right after. But one of the witnesses, a little boy around my age, said that he saw something take my hand and lead me away from the speeding train. He said it was a monstrously tall and furry creature with leathery black wings and an anteater's snout. How to Scare Dad by Chi-Town12076. My father is the scariest man I've ever known, and when armed with a bottle of beer, he reaches nightmare levels. Just the crackle of his belt or rise in his voice was enough to make me shake like a leaf. One night, while I struggled to get comfortable in bed from the bruises and sounds of my mom's crying, I hatched an ingenious idea to stop the pain and suffering. Scare Dad. Clearly, he just didn't know how his actions made us feel, but if I scared him like he scared us, maybe then he would change his ways. I tried anything I could think of to produce some fright and scare Dad straight. I would hide and jump out at him, but he didn't even flinch. I placed a toy snake in the toilet, but that only resulted in a beating for me. Finally, I thought of destroying his alcohol. I know that people become scared when they lose something they love, so one by one, I poured my dad's bottles down the drain and eagerly awaited his reaction. I knew this would be it. This would be the thing to scare him. That night, I remember my father discovering the empty bottles and becoming angrier than I've ever seen him. I remember him wrecking the house. I remember him storming into my room. I remember his hands around my neck and me seeing black. Luckily, my planning and hard work that night paid off, though. Today, my father lives in a constant state of fear. I'm always watching him, how timid and nervous he is at all times. Whenever I pay him a visit, his complexion turns pasty white, his body shivers like I used to, and he breaks into a cold sweat. I scared my father so good, you would think you saw a ghost. A Game for the Lonely by Bingus Bingus. This game is played alone in the darkest hours of the night, when the area around your house or apartment is so lightless that you can't see more than a stone's throw out your window. First, make an effort to become aware of your mind and body's current state. Ask yourself if you're afraid. Is your pulse higher than normal? Your pupils dilated? Your hands quivering? If any of these apply, which would not at all be surprising when all alone this late at night, it is not recommended that you proceed, as it may have severe effects on the game and its consequences. Once you are ready to begin, it's important that you unlock your door. Do not be afraid. There is nobody on the other side of it. You are completely safe during this stage of the game, and these instructions are written with your safety in mind. Next, slowly and calmly walk through your residence, one room at a time, turning all the lights on. Do not be afraid. There is nobody in there with you. It's important that you don't let paranoia creep in. The reasons for this will become apparent soon. Once you have turned on all the lights, indeed confirming that nobody is in there with you, approach a window. Stay calm as you open the curtains and blinds. Again, do not be afraid as you stand fully illuminated by your light and visible from the outside. Let the light comfort you, as it proves that nobody is in the room with you. It is important that you follow the rules to the letter from here on, and that you remain unafraid. Stare into the oppressive darkness. Imagine an entity appeared just out of sight. Whatever you do, do not be afraid. If something were standing out there, looking in at you from just far enough away that the light wouldn't reach it, what would it look like? Breathe deeply and keep your calm as you imagine the vague shape of its face, its eyes, the nose, the mouth. If it even has all or any of those. It is important that you are not afraid so that your fear does not shape the entity out there for you. Now, in your head, repeat these words. It's been there the whole time. I just didn't notice it before. Quickly step away from the window and lock your door. It is now okay to be afraid.